Happy Friday! It's that time again. It's time for another 5 Things Friday. It's a gorgeous May spring morning here in Ashland, Oregon, and this week I am sharing 5 of my favorite spring reads. Want to know what they are? Stick around and we'll get to it. Happy Friday. I'm so happy to have you with me here on this glorious, albeit windy, spring day here in the sunny Rogue Valley. I am sure I say this every season, but honestly, I don't think there's a better season than spring for reading because you can read outside again. I've been reading on my back porch and in the hammock and outside at coffee shops, at a winery, like basically anywhere I go, I have a book with me. Okay, so without further ado, let's get right to 5 of my current spring reads. Book number 1. I recently just finished reading Widow's Tears by Susan Wittig Albert. I broke every rule in my own book when it came to reading this particular book, and that is, this is a very long-running China Bales series. I'm sure many of you have already been familiar with Susan's work, but this was the first of her books that I've read, and I started well into the series. I always say with my own books, if you haven't read any of them, you should go back and start with number 1, because as a writer, I know how much goes into building worlds and characters and subplots, but I jumped right in the middle of Susan's series and I fell in love. This particular book is set in modern day and also back in time in the late 1800s, early 1900s in Galveston during a hurricane. So it's really atmospheric. You have the storm, you have the book popping back and forth in time. I absolutely loved it, and now I cannot wait to read more of this series. Book number 2, The House of Silk by Anthony Horowitz. I mean, come on, first of all, that's Anthony Horowitz. If you haven't read him, go grab every copy of his books that you can find. This, however, is a special nod to one of my favorite characters and sleuths of all time, none other than Sherlock Holmes. The House of Silk is written from the perspective of Dr. John Watson, kind of on his deathbed, reflecting back to a case that he never wrote about, that's sort of been hidden. And Anthony does a perfect job of capturing the tone and the spirit and definitely the voice of Watson. If you are a Sherlock fan, this is most definitely the book for you. I loved it. I devoured it. I read it in like 2 days. Book number 3, Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors by Sonali Dev. I mean, first of all, this book had me at the cover. Look at that cover. How gorgeous is that? This is next up on my TBR stack, and I cannot wait to read it. I have been drooling over this book on Instagram because it feels like every other bookstagrammer who I follow has been sharing this book, which obviously means great things. The premise is that an Indian family from royal heritage moves to San Francisco, and it's their story of immigration and pride and prejudice. So, I mean, obviously I'm a huge Jane Austen fan, and this feels like a touch of that in modern day with a lot of cultural depth to it. So I can't wait to read it. If you've already read it, no spoilers, but let me know what you think. Number 4, The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker. I mean, hello, again, covers. I know that the old adage is you shouldn't judge a book by a cover, but all of these covers have just sucked me in right away. This book is part horror, part romance. It's got a touch of sci-fi. The premise for this book is that a college student in Southern California is stuck in a permanent state of sleep, and then that evolves to multiple people within the town. So there's kind of this concept of being stuck in between worlds, sleep and awake, and what's happening in the dreams. I heard from a friend that she devoured this book in one day, and based on just that premise alone, I cannot wait to read it. Last but not least, book number 5, The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock by Imogene Hermes Gowar. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. I'm sorry if I'm not. This is a piece of historical fiction with touches of Dickens and Eliot. It has a little bit of mysticism, and I am only about 3 chapters in. I just started it last night, and I did not want to fall asleep because it's so good already. I am completely sucked in and captivated by the first few chapters. No joke, I was reading it like this last night in bed, and because it's hardcover, guess what happened? Plunk. I'm pretty sure I have a bruise on my forehead. I cannot wait to continue my reading of this little gem this afternoon. So those are my 5 spring reads. Have you read any of these books? What's on your spring reading list? I would love to have any suggestions that you have to offer, because I have a feeling that the few books on this list that I have yet to read will be done by the end of the weekend. As always, thanks for joining me for another 5 Things Friday. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell to get notified whenever I share new videos. Have a great weekend and happy reading.